Hello everyone and welcome back to another one of my videos. Today we will be creating two cards using the pattern papers by Paper Roses which was included in my SimonSaysStamp June 2022 card kit. I have some fun stamping and embossing and lots of bright colors and balloon backgrounds. Before we get started, I would really appreciate if you could take a minute to subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you get notified each time I post a new video. Before we start creating our cards, let's take a look at these beautiful pattern papers. These are double-sided sheets called Sunny Days by Paper Rose. Look at the adorable designs and patterns on these papers. There are so many happy and fun little critters on these. The scenes on these would be really amazing for our card backgrounds. I love the pattern paper with the balloons. I guess that's my favorite design. That's what we will be using today. Since we will be creating two cards, let's cut down this pattern paper into two. For my first card, I will be using this A2 size nesting die by Spellbinders. Well, later I decided to go with the die set from Sizzix. The Sizzix dies gives a dotted border. I will run this piece through my die cutting machine and there we have a panel which is slightly smaller than an A2 size card base. I will save the rest of that balloon background for my second card. Now we will take this huge 6x8 Happiest Wishes stamp set. I will be stamping and heat embossing our sentiment directly onto the pattern paper. I am stamping this big sentiment which says floating by to say happy birthday along with the tiny hey you sentiment over my bigger sentiment. I am using my stamping tool for all the stampings today. I am using the SimonSaysStamp Grid Transparency. This transparent sheet with all those grid lines will allow me to position the sentiment in a straight line. I just place my sentiments where I need them to be and then close the door of my stamping tool. I can then remove the transparency grid and stamp my sentiments in a black pigment ink and some Ranger embossing powder. While my heat gun is heating, I like to take that flat paintbrush and wipe off any extra embossing powder that might have stuck onto my paper anywhere other than my stamped image. I will use the heat gun to melt all of that embossing powder. Just take a look at this beautiful embossed sentiment. But the heat from the heat gun has warped my paper. What I like to do here is set my paper in between some heavy books for a couple of minutes. That will flatten out our paper. While my background paper is kept under some books, we will create our card base. I am using the lipstick red CardStock from SimonSaysStamp, which was also part of the June 2022 card kit. I cut it out into two pieces to create two top folding note cards. This first piece, I will score the panel at 5.5 and there we have a top folding card base. By this time, my background panel is all flattened out. I took some foam tape and stuck the panel onto the red card base for some extra dimension. Now we have to choose an image for our card front. This is the part where I batch produce my stamped and colored images in my free time. Whenever I get a new stamp set, I like to stamp and cut out a bunch of the images. It saves a lot of my time when I'm actually creating a project. Here are all the stamped images. I also made some of the sentiment labels out of these. All of these are stamped in black pigment ink and heat embossed using Ranger black embossing powder. I tried placing all of these images onto the panel and found the little teddy bear with a blue heart balloon perfect for my card front. I stuck this image using some foam tape and a little bit of craft tacky glue by SimonSaysStamp. I used my Spectrum Noir glitter brush pen on the balloon and the teddy bear. And for some extra shine and sparkle, I used the glossy accent just on my balloon. And we can call this card done. I love how simple this was to create and how beautiful it turned out. Look at the beautiful stamped images and the embossed sentiments that match perfectly with our busy, colorful balloon background. Off camera, I also created an envelope and a card panel for the inside of our card. I used the same teddy bear with the balloon and the stars from the Happiest Wishes stamp set and stamped them using the SimonSaysStamp Positively Saturated Ink in the shade Cherry on a white envelope and a white piece of cardstock. Here's a look at the finished card. Moving on to our second card. This is a very simple one. I used the small strip of the balloon background paper. I will be placing this strip onto the lipstick red cardstock. I cut out an A2 size panel of the red cardstock and lined my pattern paper with some rose gold foil cardstock strips that I had in my stash. I love the shine it gives to my strip. If you see step by step, using my tape runner, I first adhered the strips onto the background paper, which then I stuck onto the lipstick red cardstock. This will be my card front. I stuck this card front onto a white pre-folded card base. I kept this card pretty simple and stamped a couple of the tiny sentiments from the Happiest Wishes stamp set onto a few of these balloons, and I also used one of those banner happy birthday sentiments and mounted it using some thin strips of foam tape from Derry's. I stamped the sentiments in black pigment ink, and to add some pop of color to the white sentiment banner, I used the lightest shade of the grey alcohol marker, and we can call this card done. Just like the first card, for this card as well, I created a matching envelope using the SimonSaysStamp Positively Saturated inks in the shade Bubblegum, Melon and Marine, and stamped the balloons that the kitty, the dog and the teddy were holding. I did the same shades of balloons for the inside of our card. I had so much fun creating this card. I hope you had fun watching it too and got inspired. All the supplies can be found linked in the description box below. I hope you had fun watching today's video and got inspired. I would love for you to become a subscriber to my channel, and if you do subscribe or are already a subscriber, please make sure to hit the bell icon so that you don't miss the next time I post. Hit the like button and let me know in the comments down below if you have any ideas or suggestions. Also, if you'd like to share your creations, please tag me on my Instagram at rp_shutterbug. There's a link to that in the description box down below. Thank you again for joining me today. Until next time, stay safe.